back to here. And I think we're live.
Nice. Yeah.
See how it says live?
Welcome everybody to the Tessa Van Wade Show. We are trying something new.
So it could be really bad.
Oh, no way. It could not be really bad. Not when you, yeah, look, I just got something that says now live on your channel, the Tessa Van Wade Show. So
I have to be a much more active DJ now because I'm working the switchboard here.
Do you have like the fart sound and stuff like that?
I don't have a fart sound, but I have other ones. But
the way that you say that so easily, like you go, I ask you and you don't have any response that's wild or anything.
I can easily get a fart sound on this.
Want a fart sound? I don't need a fart sound.
I'm going to surprise you with a fart sound
No.
one of these days.
Please don't. What I really want is the with the goat sound. That scream, the goat scream.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make a list. We don't have to do it right now.
Okay.
But we will make a list of the fun sounds we want.
Okay.
Because now it makes sense to use them.
Okay.
Like I have the intro and outro and I have to play it and adjust it as I go.
Okay.
So I'm going to be working on this. And you'll have to forgive us because this is my first time doing it live. Usually I do it in post. Now I'm doing it.
We're throwing all that out
as we go.
Okay. So I feel like I want to give a little bit of, because my YouTube channel is a little bit different than like anything else on social media. If you want to find me on social media, you can go to the Tessa Van Wade Instagram or the Tessa Van Wade author page. We're going to start over this next year, kind of getting more into, I want to do more live. I feel like you, Ben, and we really connect with people, and I would love to eventually get it to where we can actually do these and answer questions like while we're doing them.
Well,
and stuff.
And most of the times I don't have to really edit what we talk about.
Well, because we have no shame.
To take something out that I've said.
We have no shame.
But and that's why we feel like this can go okay, because usually we come in raw anyway.
That's right.
I just have to add music beginning and
That's
end.
right.
And
well,
we're good.
So basically, if you're here on my YouTube channel, the thing about my YouTube channel is that, hold on.
We're brought to you by Starbucks today. I wish.
Anyway, the thing about our YouTube channel or my YouTube channel is I've been using it since 2012. And what's funny is there's 1,000, I don't know if there's 1,000, but there's a ton of exercise videos on here that I'm not going to get rid of.
There's not even close to 1,000.
There's
maybe 20. But you were close.
You
were very close. I feel like I'm smaller than you in this video.
Well, you're like not sitting up at all. I'm like sitting up proper, like my grandmother told me to do.
You're sitting up and you're a little bit more forward. I'm a little bit slouched and behind. I'm actually significantly taller than her in real life.
Do you want to make sure people know that?
Yeah, because there's this general consensus that I'm a little guy compared to her, and I'm really not. I'm much bigger than you.
Okay, so when we first started dating at 17, everybody always asked me, like, isn't he smaller than you?
You're going to make me sit up right now.
That's
what you're going to do. I'm going to get
Do you want me to sit down?
No, let me just adjust my mic and all. Because I have to feel like a man here.
Oh, you do not. It's okay. We're all good.
I have to feel like I'm bigger than you.
No, you do not have to feel like you're bigger than me. Okay. Anyway. The only reason he feels that way is because he was little itty bitty for a very long time.
Till I hit puberty at 17.
So I didn't know you until you were 17. And so what's funny is as soon as we met, I think you were like 5'10".
Sure.
And then I believe you grew like your freshman year in college.
Yeah.
I think you grew like 2 inches your freshman year, because I swear people were like, isn't he smaller than you when we first started dating? And I was like, no, he's not. Like, I'm only 5'8".
I'm just such a gentle person that people don't think of me as a, big bully kind of guy. Right?
Yes, Ben. Yes. So I'm like 5'8". So I'm a short 5'8".
And I'm a tall 5'11". I was actually 6 feet tall.
You were.
At one point in my life, I was 6 feet tall, but since I got
Correct.
back surgery, I'm down to like 5'11".
It's true.
I lost some of my height.
He had back surgery. That's a whole nother thing to talk about. But anyway, this has always been used for my exercise videos. And what's funny is for all that have come and found me because of the exercise and the workout stuff, that is still in my life. Am I too loud?
No, I'm just actively working as the DJ.
He's pulling my mic down.
Quit screaming. Just kidding. You're doing fine. No, I wasn't making any adjustments.
Oh, okay. So anyway, I don't plan on actually stopping that. In fact, I would love to get more exercise videos on because it's just a part of my life. I believe health is a huge part of my life. But one thing that is and I've built a gym. We are actually sitting in the gym that I've had for the last.
No, this is our podcast studio.
Oh,
what are you talking about?
Oh, whatever.
I mean, it kind of is. This is where we record every time.
We still own it.
It's a multi-purpose room. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. Multi-purpose room.
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping is I've got a launch of a book coming out this week. And so
on Tuesday,
we've been doing, on Tuesday. And so our plan was, and we've always kind of thought about doing this. And it wasn't until today that we actually went on Google and figured out how to do this.
How do you live stream your
and
podcast?
It's way easy.
It's super easy. I mean, I think because we haven't really seen the outcome yet.
What if we're
we're making it all complicated with getting different video cameras and
super complicated, but Zoom is way. And what's funny is I use Zoom on a regular basis because I actually still train, and I have these groups that I have 8 people on Zoom, and I have 5 people in the gym because of after COVID, it kind of just stayed. People really liked it. And so I have people from Texas and Florida, and they're all on Zoom. So I actually use it on a regular basis. So now we're going to use it for one other thing.
So are we going to talk about your book launch today?
Well, first, can I talk about the problem that we have with our eyebrows in our family?
I guess my eyebrows actually look like they exist right now.
They do kind of.
And I haven't dyed them recently.
Okay. So I just wanted to talk about how on point my eyebrows are today.
Wow. There's a reason.
I just got them microbladed yesterday. I've gotten them microbladed plenty of times. So when you don't have eyebrows or you have patchy eyebrows or whatever, and if you were growing up in the 90s, if you went to high school in the later 90s, which we did, you definitely plucked too much of your eyebrows.
I did not.
I did.
Oh, okay.
I plucked. We all wanted to look like Gwen Stefani in the 90s, and so we plucked it until there was hardly anything. And so I remember one time. Yeah,
the look was just one line.
One line,
like a long line.
I remember my brother came in one day and he goes, Jared, and he was like, "So can we talk about what's going on with your eyebrows?" He was like,
the things we do.
No, he was like, there's actually no eyebrow left. So are you going for something? And I was like, that's the style, brother,
Well, here's the thing though. I feel like we're always, I remember when we were at that age and we would look at our parents' styles, our parents grew up in the late 70s.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Bell bottoms and polyester. And
totally.
Terrible.
Horrible.
And we made fun of it.
Yeah.
But now we're getting made fun of.
By the way, our daughter has a pair of bell bottoms.
Sure. But we're now getting made fun of because I look back at movies that were back at our time, contemporary movies. And it's I thought in 1998, I remember thinking to myself, it can't get better than this.
Oh!
my boot cut jeans.
Mm-hmm.
with what we call them slippers here, but with flip flops.
Yeah.
And a white t-shirt.
Yeah.
And a puka shell necklace.
That thing did not come off of your neck.
And frosted tips.
Totally.
That was going to be the look forever.
And thank God.
But now I look back at it and I'm it's terrible.
Oh my gosh. Now, or all the Friends cast members, the women, the grandma pants that are now back.
They're back.
I know.
Yeah. In fact, a lot of the 90s stuff is back. But my point is that I think that what you need to do, I mean, you're clearly
personally.
Well, we all, but in this
Okay.
in this case, we're talking about your eyebrows.
Okay.
You need to accept the fact
Yeah.
that back then you plucked your eyebrows because that was the look.
That was the look.
Luckily, you're rolling with the punches.
I am rolling
and
with the
you're
punches.
like keeping up. Not so much that you look pathetic, like you're trying to look too young, but you're at least like not stuck.
Well, I will say that microblading, regardless of me plucking my eyebrows, like microblading is amazing. But the funny thing is, the reason why I even brought it up is because they're super dark right now.
Yeah.
Why? Because some of my blood is in here.
Well, and they're perfect.
They are perfect. I literally just got them done yesterday. And what's funny is our daughter has your eyebrows. Mm-hmm. Which means that, and the reason I even wanted to talk about him is you actually use beard dye to do your eyebrows.
My eyebrows are translucent.
They are not there.
It doesn't help that it's worse when I'm tan.
Well,
like when I'm
bleached.
when I'm pasty white, you can see more of my eyebrows.
Well, and when because they're bleached.
Yeah, but I'm perpetually tan now because I work construction in Hawaii. Yeah. So I have to use, just for men, beard dye on my eyebrows. Well, and it works really well.
It does work really well. Well, the whole thing goes is that he looked in the mirror one time and he was like, why do I look so weird? And I was like, eyebrows. You don't have any eyebrows. And it literally looks like if you had done what Whoopi Goldberg did and just shaved off your eyebrows.
Well, I look like a finger with eyes, just like two eyes and a finger.
Yeah, totally.
And my eyes are kind of beady and squinty. So they're not like framed, but in this lighting, you can see my eyebrows.
I think it's funny that you and I married and like we have literally the opposite the eyes.
Yeah.
We literally have the opposite eyes.
That depends on what you're talking about.
Well,
I could have giant, like outset eyes, like,
no, I mean like
a cartoon character.
As I get older, I could carry change in the back of my eyes.
You're kind of like skeleton eyes.
Like skeleton eyes. Thank you.
And mine are very
That's
fleshy.
a very nice way of putting it, Ben.
I mean,
skeleton eyes. And then he's like hooded.
Yeah,
and everything.
I'm going to not be able to see by the time I'm like 50. I'm going to have to get mine tacked.
You're going to have to get them tacked, which is not that big of a deal. You could totally get them tacked.
Yeah.
But anyway, since this is our first time, the reason why we're actually even here is because we usually do our podcast on Sunday, but this week is a special week. So I have a feeling we're going to be back here quite a bit. In fact, we have one planned for sure, is that on my launch day of the book, we are actually going to come on and do a live. We're going to do a live and we're going to post it. We're going to post that we're going to do this live on all of our social media, and we're going to do a live on Tuesday. Did we even talk about when we're going to do it? We didn't yet. So we're in Hawaii. So we are actually behind everybody.
We're currently, because Hawaii doesn't change times during daylight savings.
Right.
So we're currently 3 hours behind the West Coast.
Right.
And
so what we're going to do is we're going to actually post it on all of our social media. We're going to run live here. And I think where we're going to do it is we're going to do it about 1:00 our time.
Here. So that would be 4:00 Pacific.
California. Yeah.
Pacific. And that would be 7:00 Eastern.
Yeah. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that on Tuesday.
Mountain.
And we're going to talk about.
And if you're in France, it would be 1 a.m. because they're exactly 12 hours difference from us.
So all you people in France, make sure to catch us. But it will stay on. I'm pretty sure it will stay on YouTube.
I don't think most people are going to watch it live. I think they're going to catch it when we share it on social media.
And that's fine. But I kind of like this because then we can, I'm super excited because we just figured this out. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time. And, what I'm excited about is I'm going to give it about a month, and I have some people that have really loved my books. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get them all on, and we're going to do a big Zoom, and we're actually going to talk about the things in the book because if anybody doesn't know, I write fiction novels. And I am signed on for a 3-book deal. And the first one came out last year and had a great response. The second one comes out on Tuesday.
And this is a series.
And this is a series. So this is the second book of the series. And We're going to talk about kind of some things that I went through over this. If anybody's dealt with anxiety or anybody's dealt with anything like that.
I don't know that many people have dealt with anxiety in America. I think it's really uncommon.
Oh, if only that were the case. I'm pretty sure every single person I ever talked to has dealt with anxiety at some point, which is why we're going to talk about it on Tuesday. We're going to talk about my personal experience through that over the last 16 years. But what's funny is I didn't even know I had it, really. 16, 17?
That's very specific.
Well, because yeah.
Oh.
It is very.
I see what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, but today we're just going to have a normal podcast. We're going to do our thing. I kind of want to explain. So this is Ben.
Hi.
I am Tessa. And we have about 22 podcasts that are up under the Tessa Van Wade Show. I'm going to give a little clip into my life and who I am. He's going to give a little clip into his life and who he is.
Just so people know, this may be the first time we're doing it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Live.
Yeah.
Video.
I think I just said that we have like 22 podcasts that we've.
I wasn't listening. So for those of you who are just current listeners, of course, you know who we are. We've done 22 episodes already.
What you guys will see is pretty clearly and pretty fast that we have our own way of communicating in this little relationship that we've got. So I am Tessa Van Wade. A lot of you know me for my fitness, which I am still in. I am a trainer, and I've been a trainer for over a decade now. And I built a gym here in Hawaii where we live, and it's called the Fit Exchange, and that is where I work every day. On the other hand, half of my life, I work until noon, and then the rest of my day goes into my fiction writing novels. And last year, again, was the first time I was actually published with a publisher. So it's been a long road and a long process, because now I'm doing double duty all the time, but it's super fun because we're able to see like some books get out there that, really it's kind of an exciting time. So
it's a very exciting time.
Yeah.
You've been working on this series specifically for like, I want to say like 13 years.
Like I got the first one done. Well, I've written 10 books.
No, this specific series I'm talking about.
I know. I've written 10 books. And the reason I say that is because I wrote all of those before I even wrote this series. This was the last thing that I wrote. And I started it back in 2012. I remember I got finished in 2012.
So okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you finished the first
I finished,
okay.
But then I went on and I did something else. Actually, Rachel Ann Praline was after that. And so I finished up Rachel Ann Praline, which is another book that I'll get out after this one. But then I got a call from a publisher, and the rest is history. And
it's like it went through a whole rewrite and rebranding.
Went through a ton of that whole rewrite and all that stuff. So the whole editing process. But that's me in a nutshell. I plan on putting more videos up. We're going to actually try and do this every week. So we can just consider this our time to do it. We're going to actually get a very permanent time that we're going to do these podcasts.
Don't promise too much.
No.
Right ahead.
No, I'm not. We're going to play around with it and see what you guys like, see what everybody's kind of up for, see when people can do it. But otherwise, it's always on here, so people can watch it whenever.
Right.
Yeah. And
I'm curious if this is like Facebook Live, where it shows you the amount of people watching.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm looking at the banner right now, and it doesn't give me a number. So I'm guessing nobody's watching.
Is that we're doing this? You're so funny. But we're not really here for that. That's neither here nor there, right?
So are we making introductions?
Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Yep.
I'm her husband. That's it. I don't really.
You're Ben.
Yeah, I'm just the sidekick. Right.
You are a carpenter.
Yeah, it's all boring. I don't.
What?
We don't need to do that.
This is so fun, you guys. I'm so glad we did this.
I'm pretty much here to support you.
Oh,
that's my job.
Thanks, babe. Well, we've been together since 1998. So we have 2 children. They're not really children anymore. We have two daughters, and they're 17 and 15. And so we are about to be empty nesters in the next few years.
Yeah, we're getting a little taste of it right now. We've talked in the last couple episodes about how our daughter is now driving, and we kind of don't see them a lot of the time now.
I know.
And it's funny
really
because I grew up extremely independent. Like,
and I didn't.
I was never home. And I kind of lived on my own at like 16.
But you could do that because
So-
you were in a cul-de-sac and I was like way out in the country.
Well,
so in order to get
I lived in a
anywhere, I had to
cul-de-sac,
drive.
but I rode my bike across town to my friends' houses.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is that I'm stoked. I'm like, go away. Like, go hang out with your friends, go shop, whatever you want to do. And Tessa's like, don't go too far. I'm sorry.
sad.
You were like literally apologizing to them today that we haven't seen them. And I'm like, what are you apologizing for? This is
because you need to know the whole story. Georgia came in, my youngest. Georgia came in after she'd been gone to her friend's house. And then her and Evie went to go to a store and she came in like this.
Oh, but she's manipulating you. Totally. That's total. I mean, I get it.
I mean, here's
I'm
the
not
thing.
saying it wasn't authentic, but
we have been a very close-knit family for the last however many years. And we've been going everywhere together on the weekends, right?
yeah, too much. Like I said, I'm very independent and I need a little space. I love my family,
Yes.
but I love myself more. Just kidding.
No, but it's okay to love yourself more.
No,
You should.
I don't. But to be serious, in all seriousness, I do need my own space every once in a while.
Yes, you do.
Or I go.
So do
crazy.
I. Absolutely. I get a lot of my own space when I'm writing, so I don't have to worry about it.
I don't ever. Unless I make it happen.
Well, it's interesting because I think that I was thinking about it earlier this week. And if you haven't heard any of our podcasts, go back to you can find Tessa Van Wade show on anything.
Yeah, Apple
Yeah.
Podcasts, Spotify.
Yeah. And so
Google,
we have
I think,
22
has one.
Is this the 22nd or
This is, I believe, the 23rd.
okay, so we have like 22
I can
podcasts
look that
you
up
could,
right now.
and it
Keep
doesn't really,
talking.
okay. We have 22 podcasts, maybe, and that you can go back and you can kind of figure out who we are. And we talk about little things, a lot about marriages, a lot about kids, a lot about just relationships in general.
This is our 22nd episode. I apologize. I was wrong.
Ooh, you were wrong.
And I admitted it. And I apologized.
That's the first time in the world, everybody.
No,
You
shut
guys
up.
were
No,
here
it's
for
not.
that. Just kidding. But no, like it's funny because I thought about what we would talk about. Why are you laughing?
Nothing. I'll tell you later. There's nothing.
Oh, are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I was thinking about earlier. Why? Huh?
No, I'm sorry. Just keep talking.
No.
It's nothing.
What? Okay.
Okay, we got to work on this.
So anyway, this week we had I dealt with a lot of communication issues. Not from myself, but like owning the gym, I dealt with some communication issues going on with different people and stuff like that. And we don't have to get into it, but it made me start thinking about how just how we as a society like have trouble communicating. And it's so funny because a lot of it just comes from how do we explain it? A lot of it just comes from our knee-jerk reactions of somebody saying something to us and man, we take it all wrong.
That's because of how our parents treated us.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
It all goes back to the parents.
crap, then we're in trouble.
Oh yeah. As parents, we are in trouble. They will definitely blame us for everything.
Just like you blame your parents for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, but it is funny because I don't know, it's interesting because I started thinking about it and I'm like, the fact is like, we have these knee-jerk reactions and we talk so quickly over these knee-jerk reactions. I feel like if everybody knew that our responses to things were a knee-jerk reaction, basically be slow to speak, right?
See, this once again is coming from somebody who actually analyzes things and wants to improve. Most people that communicate the way you're explaining, the reason they do that is because that's the only way they know how to communicate. So they're not going to recognize that somebody else might be saying something in a.
So how do we fix that? Because that is a huge problem right now, is that
and here's where I would say you don't fix it. Because you want to fix humanity. And I recognize that you can't fix humanity.
Okay, but if you're like saying we cannot fix humanity, what are we doing?
You choose the people wisely who you put in your life.
Okay, so let me get this right.
I think a lot of people would agree with me too.
The world up to Ben, I think we should have that as a segment every time. The world according to Ben is that the world according to Ben is that we can't fix everybody. So therefore, we just bring into our circle who we can handle. Is that right?
I think that you're making it sound like something that it's not.
Like, I mean, I understand that you should never have toxic people around you. Like, we've talked about that. The fact is that you should always get rid of toxic people. Like if somebody continues to do the same thing over and over again and shows no signs of fixing anything, then
one thing that we tell our kids all the time is pay attention to red flags.
Yeah.
If somebody gives you these red flags, you got to believe that, chances are that's how that person is.
For people like me, it's a scary thing because, like, for example, like I believe in reform. I believe in rehabilitation.
I do too, but that person has to want it.
Yeah.
This went from like, we were talking about nothing to now we're really talking about something really quickly.
Isn't that how it should be? Like, I feel like like communication, well, because I believe our podcast has been this whole time. Number one, you and I have learned after 25 years of being together how to communicate really well. This morning, yes, there's a number 2.
Is there a number 3?
I don't know. Why are you challenging me so heavily?
I can't wait. I can't wait to see if there's a number 2 or a number 3. Because there's a number 1.
Now I'm not going to remember because you stopped me.
Interesting.
You made me lose my word.
Continue.
That's what my daughter used to say is you make me lose my word. And she always used to say it to you, by the way. So the thing of it is that
number one,
what was I saying?
I don't even know.
You guys, this is what it's going to be like.
You were leading into the fact that we argued this morning.
After 25 years of being together, we have learned a lot of process of really, really communicating and listening to the other person. Right? Have we not?
I mean, we had a pretty big fight today and it was because we were miscommunicating.
Yeah. Well, it's going to happen. I
just think we learned how to finally move on. And that's what we do well. We've talked about that in the podcast.
Totally. We've talked about how quickly we should move on, and stuff like that, and getting toxic people out of your lives. Right.
Okay.
But
so number 2.
Oh, because you stopped me and now I don't even remember.
Because you're in the habit of making a list, but there's only one thing on the list.
That is not
If there's
true.
only one thing on the list, it's not a list.
Ben Sandberg. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it is funny because I feel like number 1, you got to get rid of toxic people.
Maybe you should get rid of me.
Yeah. Number 2, every relationship is about listening, and we've lost the ability to listen.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So if we literally just took a little bit longer to listen every single time we speak, we would be able to get out better. Number 3.
Yes.
For example, like this morning. Okay. We had an argument this morning.
Can you have an example as number 3? I'm sorry.
Ben, you're killing
just digressing.
Me. You're killing me.
For example,
number 3 is this. you and I, it didn't matter how many times we said it different ways. Neither one of us was getting it. Okay. I was not understanding you. You were not understanding me. And it didn't matter how many times we tried to say it, that it didn't matter. But yet, but the number 3 is when you do have a good relationship, you can't just throw out relationships that are good based on the fact that that sometimes you really cannot come to an end solution.
Yeah.
You've got to step away. And that's number 3. Number 3, I've learned that we have to step away and we have to recognize when we are literally just talking crap out of our mouths to each other because of something going on or all of that, or just agreeing to disagree. And this world cannot do that right now.
I thought it was interesting. My sister came for a visit last week, and we talked a lot about family and relationships. Because when you talk with somebody who you grew up with, they understand.
They do.
You know. So I thought it was really interesting that my sister said something that I do, and she does the same thing. And she said that for us, like, if you're in a relationship where you argue or you get mad at each other, it almost feels like then it's over.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes into a whole history of things that we experienced when we were younger, but
that people will go away.
I do that. Like, I feel like if I fight with somebody, like, that's a breakup.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's almost like, for example, I see guys at my work that'll get into like a big fight
with each other.
And then like a week later, they're cool. And I'm like, wait a minute. No. You guys broke up. You're enemies now forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So how do you know the difference between toxic people that you shouldn't have in your life versus people that you really just need to figure out why you're not communicating effectively?
I mean, I think for me, there are people that I must work on my relationship with. And that's you. That's my children.
Yes.
And very few other people. Some people, like parental figures.
Okay.
I have done that. But I think it comes to the point where, like,
you have done what?
Like, worked things out and worked on the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
There are other people who you try and nothing happens. So you have to just kind of be like, so for lack of a better word, I wash my hands of this and I need to move on.
Right. So ultimately you're going to have moments in your relationship where it literally feels like there is never going to be a way for you to understand me or me to understand you.
Yeah, there are some people
even with how good of a relationship that you and I have and how long we've been together. And for the most part, I would say 90% of the time we are super content and happy with each other. We've got that 10% of the time where we have that like, and so it's funny because I think that what we've talked about in the past is how, like, knowing the toxic people is about knowing the people who are going to continually, like, how do you know when they're so toxic that it's not even about boundaries anymore? Because every relationship is going to need boundaries.
I think that if you continue to try to build a relationship or fix things and it's only one-sided, then chances are it's just not going to work.
Right.
Like, chances are you're just spinning your wheels.
Yeah.
Because it's got to go both ways.
Yeah.
I
mean, I've had people in my life that I've not cut them out, but what I've done is I've given distance. And I've said
safe boundaries.
I've done safe boundaries where I'm like, okay, the distance is good because it allows me to be me and it allows me to kind of like say, hey, I love you, but I can't have you a ton in my life. Like we're going to see each other like this much. And the rest of it, I'm going to like be over here doing my thing. And I think the difference is, I think the hardest part is making those boundaries. And what's funny is that person may not even know that you've made those boundaries.
That's why the Facebook function is brilliant. You can be friends with somebody, but you can like unfollow
unfollow
them without unfriending them. So like it's almost like you're putting them on mute,
right?
But they don't know it.
Don't you wish you could like actually do that in real life?
Well, I think that before social media, you could
like, mute somebody in real life.
No. If you had an issue with somebody, chances are you would probably only see them during special occasions, or if you bumped into them in town.
Yeah.
Now, if you have them on your social media, it's like you see their whole lives, and it's almost too much.
And there's a lot of toxicity out there in the sense of like, people just being able to just write whatever they want, like on, from their comfort of their own house and everything like that. But it is funny because there's some definite, I think, goals in relationships to reach for. And I think that slow to speak, knowing that when you do get into fights, it's not over. It just means, and especially the ones where you really can't come to, like, for example, this morning with us, we were really not understanding each other. But then a little bit later, we just kind of came back to it and we're like, look, we got some big stuff ahead of us. And this is why we're having this argument. Like this, it's really has nothing to do with like who we are or between us and all of that. And it's more about like, let's just move on and get control over our day, Yeah,
but that's somebody who you're in a relationship with. And I think the difference between you and me is like, you'll meet somebody and in your mind, you're immediately in a relationship with that person.
We're like best friends.
Right. So for me, I'm not in a relationship with many people.
Yeah.
There's people in my life that I see on a daily basis, but I guess I have technically because we are together every day, like say some of my colleagues at work.
Yeah.
I don't have a relationship with them, like emotional, like I don't really care. I mean, you know what I mean? I care, but if like,
I get what you mean.
If tomorrow they quit and moved away,
you're not going to see them.
I wouldn't care.
Yes,
but there are some people that I would very much care.
Yeah.
So I think the difference between you and me is like, I don't feel like I have to work on many of my relationships or with the people that I see on a daily basis. You are struggling with people that you, in my book, you're not even really in a relationship with.
Well, I think that every business,
you would define it as you're in a relationship with this
person. Mean, that's what happens.
And you want to fix them and help them.
When you run a business, you have to keep relationship in a way. It's a working relationship, but still the same thing. You still have to listen with open ears. You still have to. My biggest thing is I see so much of this like assuming going on, and we all know what assuming is.
Don't say it. Don't do it. Don't do the cliche thing. We all know. You don't have to say it.
What does this
We all know that you shouldn't assume. That's all we need to say.
Yes, but everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody does. Mm-hmm. And so what's funny is being removed from the situation, you watch and you're like, there was no malintent. I mean, granted, I'm sure there are plenty of situations where there's the intention is not good. But a lot of times I watch relationships happen where I'm like, neither one had bad intention.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that most times when something happens, there's some kind of miscommunication.
There's some kind of miscommunication. Right. And so it's about
outside.
But we have a hard time stopping ourselves mid-emotion and recognizing that they were not trying to be malicious. And I truly believe I have had conversations with a lot of people where they're like, yes, they were being malicious. And I'm like,
but see,
I do not believe that.
This is why in HR, human resources, everybody hates human resources. I studied
Toby
it.
On The Office.
Yeah, I studied it in grad school. And this is why, unfortunately, HR has to be like robotic. Like policy.
like the person.
It's policy.
Right.
Like, this isn't about how you feel
I know.
or your personal stuff. This is the policy.
Yeah.
You are breaking the policy.
Well, and what I'm learning with my business is that the bigger I grow, the more people that come, the more policy I have to have. And I'm one of those people that's like, can't we all just like, you know,
She
be
pictures
nice
everybody
and
holding
kind
hands and singing.
a little bit. I do.
And I'm like, just come, work, and leave.
Yeah, but even that would be good. But that doesn't happen. There's a weird thing within us. And what's funny is we will talk about that because that is a huge part of the second book in this series. That's why we're doing this, because that's a huge part in the second book of the series. And that's why, like, I even talked to somebody today about running a seminar over, like, even talking about these things, going into the deeper parts of our psyche. The second book is called Deep Trace. And what's funny is it goes into the unconscious behaviors and subconscious behaviors that we have going on. And that is the reason we respond in certain ways. And that's the reason we get manipulated in certain ways. Yeah. And so it's funny because as running this business or even just life, I see myself watching these people going, I know exactly what's happening right now, almost because of the book. And it's funny because I see what's happening beneath the surface where this person is like, they're doing that maliciously. And I'm going, no, they're not. You're believing that they're doing that maliciously because of so and so people in your life that have done this to you.
Absolutely.
And that's a scary place because it's like, we don't actively work on going back into those moments and being like, okay, how do we actually fix those moments where we got that hurt and that pain that is now clouding every way that I respond in this business relationship?
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's why a lot of people who have experienced trauma or, some kind of, I'll just leave it with trauma. I guess.
Trauma. Yeah.
People who have
abuse,
experienced trauma or abuse, typically it perpetuates.
Well,
because they no longer have it. It's a struggle for them to trust that anybody actually has their best intentions for them.
I think we also even, and as family, you and I are very aware of these underlying things. And one thing we've tried really hard is that we don't pass on these underlying things to our children.
You try so hard and then you see it happen and you're like,
and it's like inevitable.
I worked so hard at that.
Again, you just continue to work on it. You continue to do the work that we need to do.
Yeah.
But it is funny because I do watch even friends and family and business and all of this. There's so many things that where people are in these cycles with relationships where they're just continuing to do the same cycle. And so it's so familiar to them that they don't even know it's toxic.
If it's happening in every one of your relationships, it's you.
It's true. Common denominator, baby. Like
you.
if everybody thinks that you're too serious, you might be too serious.
And that, I mean, you talk about that in this second book. The book is about this like hybrid society of humans that lives for centuries.
Yeah,
and they have
hidden.
They have the ability to go into other people's minds and kind of do some kind of mind control. And what they do is they tap into your mind. Like, let's say you've experienced a trauma. They tap into that mind and they can actually debilitate you by putting those thoughts.
They can change your.
Yeah. So it's actually fascinating because when you think about like, not to get religious, but when you think about like the soul and the spirit.
Yeah.
Like your soul.
You can get spiritual without getting religious.
You have your like physical being, you know, the conscious.
Yep.
And then you have like your soul, which is your subconscious, like who you're like your brain, your mental,
your psyche.
Yeah.
And
then you have your spirit. which would be like the deepest, most pure form of who you are.
Right.
Right. And we're born with this clean soul.
Right.
Our spirit is deep down, and it's pure.
Yeah.
Our soul is born pure,
right,
but gets tainted.
Right.
Yeah. And then our conscious mind, our body is, we have scars and stuff from life. So in a way, the way that you wrote this book, I think will touch on a lot of people and help them to recognize that even though this is a great story, and it's almost like Inception, where they're like fighting in their minds, on these different levels. Yeah. But I think that, and I know this is why you wrote the book this way, it's a metaphor for what we deal with on a regular basis, which is what we're talking about today in like relationships.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a metaphor for the fact that like the concept, especially of the whole series in general, is what would we be like if we could literally just like get rid of all of the trauma and layers and just live in the conscious. But none of us can. Right. And so it's a constant battle. Because we each see the world. We each see the world through our own lens. Well, and you see these characters get manipulated because of those things. Right. And we as humanity do. And there's so much more to it, than that. But yeah, like it's amazing how I'm watching it every single day kind of go into our everyday lives of, especially when you're on the outside of watching people have this communication. Mm-hmm. And when you're really able to kind of like, had somebody been watching us this morning,
like a mediator,
they would have been like, okay, you guys need to chill out. Like, look at what's going on here. It's so easy. Like, I guarantee they would have been like, it's so easy. You're thinking this and you're thinking this and blah, blah, blah. But there was one moment where I looked at you today and and you and I were both mad. And I looked at you and I said, Ben, what is the deeper thing here? What is the deeper thing here? And you actually said what the deeper problem was. And then I said what the deeper problem was. And neither one of them had anything to do with each other. In fact, the deeper problem was that we were caring too much or a lot about taking care of the other person. And it was putting us in a bad place.
But that's why it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I'm like, this whole thing is for you.
I know. And
why doesn't it make you happy?
This whole thing is like, I'm thinking this whole thing is for you. Like, I'm trying to do this for you. And you're like, I'm trying to do this for you. And so we have this whole fight going on. And we're literally, our whole intent was to love and care and protect each other and take care of each other.
Yeah. I mean, there was moments where I'm like, oh, this is over.
What?
We're never doing a podcast again. She's kicking me out. Just kidding.
No, you did not. 25 years in, I think that never actually happened.
I resist that urge.
Do you ever
to be
think
like,
that? Wait,
this relationship is over.
Wait a minute. Do you think that?
No,
ever?
I don't.
No,
I'm joking. We're getting too serious again. So I'm like, I gotta.
So just so you know, if this is the first time you've ever watched it, Ben is Chandler Bing on Friends, who can't stand he's like, if it's too serious and you go in for a hug, he's going to do a fart noise.
Well, I feel like, people
he
need
has
a little,
no comment on that. He literally just goes right past that.
No, it's true. But people need like a little commercial break or like a segment break or something,
No, it's true. Like every book, I try to write a little bit of like humor.
And I have no way of knowing. Usually when we record this, I have like a way of knowing how long we've been talking, but there's no time.
We've been talking a long time. Yeah. Maybe next time we need to do like a little timer and stuff like that. But I think this is fun.
We're learning.
I'm excited because I literally talked to a girl just this week. So we, being as young as we were when we first started dating, because we were 17 years old when we were 17 years old. And what's funny is dating was so different back then. I mean, we literally just like would come and hang at each other's house, right? And we met through a mutual friend and
social media,
nothing like that. And so I actually had at the gym, we actually hosted this group called Ladies Artisan Market. And when they were here, we all sat around in a circle and we kind of said, hey, who are you? And I kind of explained, oh, I'm the owner here. And you know, I have a book and this and that. And some of them had actually read the book. And so it was really cool. And a couple of the ones that wanted to talk to me afterwards, because they, you know, they just kind of wanted to chat about some things. I had mentioned in the thing that I want to get on this podcast. I want to get people, some younger people on that actually do the whole, swiping, like the now dating way, because you and I are so ancient, Grandpa.
I know.
Like the way we dated was just so different, or the way we found each other. Like
and not just the time that we were dating, but the age that we were dating,
right,
has a big part of that too.
Right.
I have friends that I talked to, just having a beer with a guy the other day, and he was sharing how, like, as a, you know, dating as an adult, as like two independent people, with two independent lives and jobs, like, is funny. Cause I'm like, how do you guys plan?
Right.
What do you guys do? Like, how do you know where the other person is? Cause I just come home and you're home, or vice versa. And if you're not home, usually you'll send me a text of, hey, I'll be home by this time. So it's like, it's completely foreign to me.
Well, and going into a relationship that young, like we had no other boyfriends and girlfriends before that.
Not serious.
Not serious. And so
just make out buddies.
Whatever. So not really serious, but it is funny because we like our relationship was so like young and innocent for how young we were. And so so I have them coming on the podcast.
All right.
So that'll be exciting.
Am I going to be a part of that?
Yeah. In fact, I think you should have Tim come on.
Oh, I don't know if he's going to want to do that.
That's okay. He can, I'll talk him into it. I don't know him, but I can talk him into it.
I mean, maybe if I pay him.
We don't want to, but it's like, it's just going to be a fun conversation.
A lot of people don't want to be like,
I go, hey, if anybody wants to do this, come up and talk to me. People come up and talk to me. They want to talk about this. It's a fun conversation to have.
Were they women?
Yes.
Yeah. Men. I'm not trying to generalize.
I want to have one woman and one man that don't date. That's how I want it
that
to
don't
be.
Date each other.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I want to have a completely separate woman that doesn't date this man. And I want them to come on the podcast with us so we can talk about the way of dating now. And I figure you're going to have a bunch of stuff to say and all of that kind of stuff, but maybe
I'll just be like, I don't have anything to say about this.
I don't think so. That's not you.
Different world.
Nope, that's not you. I think it'll be fun to kind of compare the difference between the way we did things, and then kind of go deeper into like maybe the psyche of like how dating works now and what that kind of leads into. Maybe, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll
that's a topic.
We'll figure that out when that comes. But so just everybody know, we're gonna sign off now. But if you can find me on Instagram, Tessa Van Wade on Instagram. There's also, I have a Tessa Van Wade author page. My book is coming out on Tuesday. You can actually pre-order it now, but you can order it on Tuesday. And so what we're gonna do is at 1:00 on Tuesday, Hawaii time, we are going to do another YouTube live, and we're going to talk about some of that deeper stuff that I was going to say and kind of what brought it into the actual book. So that's kind of exciting. But again, my name is Tessa. This is Ben, and we're just two dorks that have been married for a very long time, and we're interested in how communication and relationships work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll talk to you guys on Tuesday.
All right. See you guys. Signing off. See you later. Okay. So